All right, then, everybody in podcast land out there, welcome to another Tank Nation podcast. So, this is where we bring the outside in. And our brother Sean Oliver, ex-resident here on the Polunsky unit, was actually our pastor in our Protestant programs here for many years.
We are in Victoria, Texas, rolling. Last night we were at my friend Yancey's sister's non-for-profit fundraiser. What's up, man?
Good morning to you, brother. How you doing this morning?
Okay, so we're playing with the video camera because he's driving. And so this is going to be basically the city where Albert ended up getting a life sentence.
Absolutely.
And so the footage that we're going to show today is where one man started a journey that led him to a life sentence in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. But I don't know if you can read the shirt. What's the shirt say?
FBI. Faith Beyond Incarceration.
Say this man made up a ministry called FBI, Faith Beyond Incarceration. So when we go into prisons, he say FBI, or people, you watch like we watch, like FBI. What's that? Faith Beyond Incarceration. Yancey, why did you name the ministry Faith Beyond Incarceration?
Because one of the things that I noticed while I was in prison is that many men and women, we totally depend on God as our provider, as our healer, as our protector. We believe that he's taking care of our families. We believe in him for commissary. We believe in him for parole, etc. But one of the things that I noticed is that when men and women make the transition from incarceration back into society, they forget that faith that they exercised while they was incarcerated. So I felt that it was very pivotal for the men and women to understand that the same faith that they exercised while they was in prison, it has to be the same faith that they exercise outside of prison. If they don't, what's going to happen is that in the Bible there's a story about Peter being on a boat and the storm arose and Jesus called him out and he was afraid, and eventually he did begin to walk on water. He did do the things that Jesus asked him to do, but then there was a storm. Out here in this society, Jesus has called us to do many things, but unfortunately, storm arises. You may not be able to get the apartment that you were trying to get. You may not be able to get the job that you put in an application for. You may not even be able to reconcile with some of your family members because they don't believe that you changed. So what has to happen is you have to look at those storms and to understand that the same faith that it took to believe God when you was in a dark place, incarcerated, without parole, set off, no commissary, family members dying, not able to go to the funeral. That same faith that you exercise when you were in your dark moment is the same faith that you have to exercise when you exit prison. So when I came home, God dropped that in my spirit, faith beyond incarceration, because at the end of the day, faith is what gets us through. Nothing is promised to us. Nothing can be expected. Everything that we do, it has to be by faith. We're standing on the corner of 2nd Street and Depot. I don't know if the camera will be able to get it, so we're just going to rock with it. This is 2nd Street and Depot, Victoria, Texas. This is where my life took an error. Cost me 27 years, 5 months, and 1 day. Hey, what's going on, family? This is Albert James Yancey. I wanted to take a moment out just to reflect on where life went wrong for me. So many times we make mistakes and we never go back to relive those moments. But I thought that it was essential today as I'm in my community, attended an event last night with my sister. But I wanted to take a moment out kind of to retrace some of the pathways that I took when I was a youngster. I grew up in Victoria. This was my neighborhood. This is the place where I sold dope. This is the place where I gangbang. And I represented this area where we're at. So we're literally standing in the exact same space or the place where I caught a murder case. So walk with me just for a few seconds. So when I was growing up, all of this area where I'm at now was considered the hood. It was 2nd Street. This is where everything was popping. This is where all the clubs was at. So along this line right here, it was nothing but clubs. All this side was clubs, clubs, clubs. And then we had a few houses on the corner, and it was the same thing on this side of the street. It was nothing but clubs. This used to be the gambling shack. You see this blue building right here? This used to be our gambling shack. And then this is also was a barbecue place. But it was right here in this area where I was standing. And if you will walk with me, I just want to kind of retrace the steps. I was literally standing in this area right here. And there was a truck, a Jeep, and a boat that came through this area. And some chaos had started. And from this very spot, probably exactly where I'm standing, I took a 9mm and I aimed it in the direction of the boat and Jeep. And eventually, the result of that action ended a 21-year-old man's life. So here I am. I'm back in the environment. I'm back in Victoria, Texas. And as I look back how things were and the way they are today, I played the block. I represented the block. But I'm back on a block that majority of the people, if anyone in this environment, even knows who I am. And that's kind of sad, because as I think back of how I risked so much of my life right here on this street, but yet nobody knows my name. Everything around me has changed. And so as I was thinking about that, I wondered how many of the people that I grew up with are still representing a block that has changed. The neighborhood has changed. The people have changed. But the people who was here in the 80s and 90s, when this was the heartbeat of Victoria, they haven't changed. And so I just wanted to take a moment out just to encourage you. If you grew up in an environment or you had a certain mindset when you were young, understand that it's time to make a change. And that's why I wanted to come back here today. Our neighborhoods are changing, the people are changing, but a lot of the people are not changing their mindset. It was here that I received a life sentence, and I went away to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 27 years, 5 months, and 1 day. And when I come back, it's sad to see my neighborhood in the condition it is. Very few people are here trying to make a difference. But Victoria is not the only place that this is happening. It's happening in every city, every state, every part of the world where neighborhoods are being ran down by gangs, by drugs. And unfortunately, as time goes on, that environment changes. But look how many lives was ruined. How much drugs I sold on this corner. How many people I fought on this corner. How many people I shot at on this corner. I destroyed lives. And so it's just encouraging just to come back and see what I can do to try to make a difference. And if anything, just be a positive voice that it's time to make a change in our communities.
Okay, we're in Victoria, Texas. I'm with Albert Yancey, but Yancey just finished showing us where at one point he caught a murder case. And the reason that I got on here is to say this. I don't know where you caught your case. I know where I caught my case, but he brought out a valid point, and I want to just reach somebody by stating this. How long did it take to commit the crime that you sitting in prison watching this video? How long did it take? Meaning literally, for me, I think the crime that I committed, the actual crime, it took probably a few seconds. Well, you know what? I'm going to say 30 seconds. But that 30 seconds cost me 27 years, 10 months, and 16 days. So one thing that we do on the Tank Radio, we're promoting conversations that hopefully will lead to individuals who are incarcerated, as well as individuals who are free, understanding how we can not only change our mindsets, but share the change that, for me, God has brought. This shirt that I'm wearing, this is FBI Ministries. This is a ministry. So the same man that committed an act of murder is the same man that came up with this ministry. And just like we're on these streets, we just stopped off at a homeless shelter, and we'll be back in Houston at another unit tonight. I want to encourage everybody there the decisions that you make right where you at are going to place you somewhere else 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So whatever the decisions you're making, whether you're on the knock table, whether you're on the rec yard with some nonsense, whether you're about that life and you understand what I'm talking about, whether you're a Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you don't believe in God, the decisions that you make today can place you in circumstances just like these, where at one point you and I committed violent acts or smoked drugs or abused people. But the decisions that you make today while you're watching this can put you right back in position, not to destroy, but to make an impact. And so when the brother was standing there, honestly, I prayed, because I was like, man, that's wild that you're in the exact same place that you pulled the trigger, that you in prison, but we're down here today helping people. And if we can do it, you can do it. God bless you.
Tank Nation Conversations, promoting change through change.
I'm Brian Collier, Executive Director of Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Blakinger.
Dennis Martinez. I'm a world and U.S. skateboard champion.
Hello, my name is Kevin Kempf, and I'm the Executive Director of the Correctional Leaders Association, and it's an honor.
Gary Moore.
Yeah, my name is Hedemias Cooper.
Hello, I'm Michael Dutra.
And this is Sharon Dutra.
I'm David Gorin. I'm a radio producer for the BBC.
I'm Maria Malgaronis.
My purpose is to look out at each and every man in this room and see that there's hope for everybody in here.
When I came to death row, all I knew was that I came here to die, but little did I know, I came here to live.